However, when we came to the human world, I actually got one. It was a stuffed kitten. I didn't do anything, but it was fluffy and cute.
Oh, he bought a stuffed kitten. This man is precious right here. This is a precious being right here. This is why I need to hug this precious being.
Forward deep within, I can't go through it alone, and I won't leave you on your own. I stand before you now and promise you I am not afraid. I will fight and guide the way. We will rise again to glory, then soar into the sky. If you stop and see, then you just might believe.
Sup guys, the name's Rena Dragneel and welcome to Seduce Me 2, the Demon War. So, I put up a poll on my profile, on my G Plus profile, and I asked you guys which one you want to seduce on here first. So, majority of you said Damien, to do Damien first. So, we are going to pursue Damien here. And with that, I don't think we need to do a tutorial, so let's get started.
Hold on there! Before you start the game, I need to ask you a few things. Don't want you getting lost now.
Alright, Kate, even though I've never seen you in the first game, but alright then.
First of all, have you read the first story, Seduce Me the Otome? Like, seriously read it. No skimming, no pretending to read it. No.
I did the whole thing.
It's okay if you haven't, but there are a lot of things in this game that you won't understand unless you fully experienced and understood that story first.
Well, yeah, I've played the first game. Yep.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Next question. You do know this is Damien's route, right?
Yep, I know.
You know, the demon that wanted to be a human? The, bastard son?
Yeah, I know this. Damien's precious.
Oh, awesome! Alright then. Damien is such a precious son.
Yes!
And he deserves to be happy, you know?
Yes! Damien is precious. He's a precious being. I just need to hug him. And I love you too, Jonah. I need to hug you too.
Anyway, I have one last question for you. Some people like hearing the trigger warnings before they start games, while others don't really care and just want to play. It's cool either way, but do you want to know about some of the content listed in the game?
Oh, for you guys, sure.
No problem. It's my pleasure. Well, this game is recommended for players ages 18 and up. Trigger warnings include suicide, war, torture, mentions of rape, and a large amount of violence and sexual content.
Oh dear lord. So, players 18 and younger, please be aware of all this.
Don't worry though. Any sex scene choice you encounter is completely up to you. You can play this game without needing to go through the sex scenes and still get the good endings. Consent is important.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot to mention. Going smut all the way, alright? But I will tell you to skip. When there's a sex scene, I will tell you guys if you don't want to see it to skip.
I think that should be everything. Alright. Phew, that took a while.
You forgot something.
Diana, she looks so cute in her succubus form.
Huh? What did I forget?
You forgot about the disclaimer.
Oh, crap! Oh, how could I have forgotten about that?
It's fine, I'll take care of it. This game was produced by Michaela Laws using the Ren'Py visual novel engine. We truly hope you enjoy this story.
Thanks, Diana. Now, don't you have a war to go fight?
I do. I just wanted to make sure everything was in order before the story began. I'll take my leave now.
Thanks, Di.
Do not call me Di.
Aw.
Anyway, we really do hope you like the story. Have fun. See you at the end.
See you later, Kay. Alright, now we're gonna get started. Creepy music. I told him I had no regrets. I told Damien that I did not regret for 1 second that I made a deal with Diana to make him human. I stood steadfast and knew what I was doing. But I still didn't like the choice I had made. Something in my gut didn't feel right about what I did to Damien. Yes, I knew that Diana wouldn't have raped him, but what if she had? What if I gave her permission to do so and I didn't know it? What if he didn't want to go through with it and Diana really did sleep with him anyway? So many guilty thoughts, man. I was mortified at the choice, but I had just wanted him to be happy. Every time he said my name made me feel so happy. Every time he held me or kissed me was a moment I carved into my memories forever to cherish. I loved him and wanted him to be truly happy. Damien reassured me that Diana didn't do anything to him, but I could not help but imagine it and even dream of it. Oh no.
So, bastard son, do you truly wish to become human? You know very well that I am capable of making that happen.
Oh dear.
I will not betray her trust.
Oh my god.
What she doesn't know won't hurt her. Besides, don't you want to be human so you can be with her and not put her in any danger?
This is torturing. Oh my god.
Stop it!
I couldn't stop illusions of what Diana and Damien could have done from appearing in my dreams, like a scene doomed to repeat over and over. Diana, shrouded in shadow, would loom over Damien and show herself as the evil woman she truly was. Damien, however, would struggle, fight to get away from her. I didn't want to see this, but I was forced to watch the scene play out.
Stop it. What makes you think you're in a position to say no to me?
Really?
I won't do it, Diana. You can't make me do this.
Oh, can't I? Your precious little human isn't here to save you.
Ah! I tried to scream, to protest and prove Diana wrong, but I knew that I wasn't there. I was merely a bystander to a dream I could not stop. White chains! I was forced to witness Diana chaining Damien up to a black bed and touching him in the most sensual but unwanted ways possible. Oh, jeez! Her nails and tongue running along his skin made both him and me flinch and whimper in disgust. Oh, no!
Stop it!
What? Are you not enjoying yourself? You're an incubus, and even more than that, a man. Surely you can enjoy this treat in exchange for your precious humanity.
Ah! I am getting a little uncomfortable. Just gotta go though. This was wrong. This was sick and beyond wrong. I felt like I was outside the small bubble Damien and Diana were in, and I was beating against the wall, trying to get in and stop her, but I couldn't break through. Each movement Diana made grew more and more sexual, like a predator playing with its prey. Damien struggled, thrashing about and fighting back against the chains that held him down, trying to break free. I prayed that he would. I screamed in the hope that he would be released from this. However, Diana glared and snapped her fingers, forcing him to gasp and his eyes to glow gold. He began to quake as if he was dying and starved like an animal, and glared angry daggers at Diana, who only laughed. What sent deadly shivers down my spine was Diana looking over at me, as if she knew I was watching.
Remember, dear, you made this decision.
Oh, gee. Don't pin this on me now! Diana chuckled before leaning close to Damien's face, looking over his mouth and straightening his hips.
She was
Straddling.
a cute little diversion. But now it's time to have some real fun.
Oh dear. As Damien began to scream, I suddenly awoke from my nightmare, mentally unable to take being trapped inside of it anymore.
Huh?
Ah, thank you, Damien. You're awake. But I'm sorry, I must have woken you out of your sleep. Oh, wait. I just noticed. Shirtless Damien, people! Shirtless. Shirtless. Beside me, I heard and felt Damien rat us out of bed in response to me waking. I looked over at him, seeing him quickly rub his eyes and look at me with worry.
Hey, what's wrong?
I knew he couldn't read my mind anymore, so he wouldn't have known what I had seen. I still couldn't help but need to embrace him from the dream I had. Grabbing Damien's arm gently, I began to whimper.
Huh? Hey, come here.
Damien gently wrapped his arms around my form and hugged me to him, petting my back. I let out a weak mew, shutting my eyes and trying not to cry. Damien gently kissed over my head, trying to calm me down.
Everything's okay. It was just a nightmare. I'm right here.
His voice helped me slowly start to relax, knowing that what he said was true. It was a nightmare, not real. I couldn't shake all of the sadness from my mind, but I calmed down enough to not let it control me anymore. Damien gently rocked me, his arms wrapped around my body lovingly. As he softly whispered my name, my mind simply melted into a peaceful hum. Oh, now we enter name. I'm gonna put Rena. Everything was okay now. Everything was fine. I looked up at Damien and rubbed my eyes as he loosened his embrace around me. I'm sorry. I just can't stop thinking about the deal I made with Diana.
I told you before that it was fine. Honestly, it's nothing to worry about.
Yes, it is! Damien gently kissed my forehead before pressing his to mine, nuzzling me softly. He stared deep into my eyes with a loving smile, one that made my heart ooze in happiness despite my worry.
I cannot be any happier than I am now. I'm marrying the woman of my dreams as a human, an actual human. I owe everything to you.
Damien. I rubbed my nose against Damien's, closing my eyes and wrapping my arms around his neck. I knew he was being sincere and was truly happy. I had to get over my fears and deal with it. He was human now, and we were going to be married soon. You're gonna get married to Damien? Yes, marriage. Yes. My heart truly couldn't believe it. I was going to marry to Damien, and we'd live happily ever after together. It was so good. I almost couldn't believe the truth of it. However, I was always reminded of the reality of it every time Damien held me in his arms. Damien smiled before kissing my head and patting the bed behind me.
Come on. Let's go back to sleep. I'll be right here if another nightmare appears.
I nodded and slowly fell back onto the mattress, cuddling up to Damien as he laid beside me. If the nightmare came back, Damien would be in my arms, reminding me it was all fake and just my imagination. Everything would be all right. The night quickly passed by and the morning sun peeked through my window drapes and landed perfectly over my eyes, waking me up. I stretched and yawned, not wanting to get up just yet. However, the emptiness of the bed next to me made me open my eyes wide, finding no Damien beside me. Damien? I sat up and looked around the room after rubbing the sleep from my eyes. Damien was nowhere in the room, which confused me. Where was he?
Oh, good morning.
I looked over at the door to see Damien holding a tray of breakfast with 2 plates full of delicious food. In a vase beside my breakfast plate were 2 beautifully bloomed white roses, which made a soft smile grow on my face. He made breakfast, and he brought it to bed. We're having breakfast in bed. Damien, you precious being. Thank you. Thank you. Morning. Is that for us?
Yeah. I figured why not have breakfast in bed?
Oh, such a precious being. Thank you. You are so sweet. Thank you. Damien smiled and sat beside me, placing the tray over both of our laps. The smell was practically intoxicating in the best ways possible. Before we began to eat, however, Damien picked up the TV remote from the nightstand beside him.
James's big toy reveal is today. Do you mind if we watch it?
I shook my head, eager to see it as well. James had become the CEO of the Anderson Toys Company. So I was curious to see how he was doing and how the company was holding up. Apparently, it was rising higher and higher up the top business rankings and soon had become one of the top 500 businesses internationally. I was proud of James, but I was more happy to see that Damien seemed to be his #1 fan. He was always giddy whenever he talked about all of his brother's accomplishments. It was adorable! Damien grinned before turning on the TV and changed the channel to the local news station. It was one of the best news stations out there, and I was not being biased. Anyone who claimed to love Chicago knew it.
All right, so here we have an interesting story to tell. The Anderson Toys Company, an internationally famous toy business, has just recently announced a new line of toys in development. According to the CEO, the line is said to focus on fantasy. Let's take a look at the public announcement.
I am more than happy to show off our new line, Fantasy Kingdom, for you all this morning. These toys will not only provide friendship and fun for children around the world, but will help inspire imaginations and let creative minds grow.
Oh, James! I could not help but squeal at what I saw on the TV. All lined up in a row were adorable, cartoon-like stuffed fantasy dolls, glimmering in the broadcasting lights of the TV station. They were knights, royalty, and creatures of all kinds, some not even truly fantasy. Damien, however, laughed quietly at the sight. Huh? What? They're all really cute!
They are. Only a couple of them are real, though.
Huh? Really? My jaw dropped. Some of the creatures that were represented were actually real. I knew demons and devils existed, but there were more than them? My mind began to imagine all of the creatures on the screen being potentially real. Damien nodded and pointed to the TV.
Vampires are real, but they don't look like that. They look like humans.
No way! I could not believe it. There was no way vampires existed. Damien, however, nodded with a reassuring grin.
I promise it's true. Werewolves used to exist too, though they were killed off by the vampires long ago. Let's see.
I looked to the TV to see the vampire doll and werewolf plush sitting next to each other. Why did I just... hold on, I didn't finish reading. I looked to the TV to see the vampire doll and werewolf plush sitting next to each other, being simply cute and stereotypical of what most people imagine them to look like. Damien then pointed to the screen again. I forgot to beg you, why are werewolves extinct? Why? Werewolves are cool, though.
There, the angel toy? Angels are real too, only they don't look like that.
Oh yeah, that was mentioned in Diana's route, that angels don't look like halos and wings, they look like monsters. Alright then. I looked over to see a beautiful gold-haired doll of an angel. They really didn't look like that? I tilted my head at Damien. How do they look if they're not like that?
Well, they look,
Damien rubbed his chin, unsure of how to reply. I could tell he was being serious and wasn't lying about them looking different, but they seemed to be hard to describe. Damien then shook his head.
They look like old statues. It's really hard to say without drawing it out or something.
Yeah, basically Diana said they look like monsters. I really wasn't in the mood to get up and grab paper and a pencil, so I shrugged and let it go for the moment. Damien and I looked back to the TV, seeing the entire line pass by the camera, showing what toys were available. I'm surprised he didn't make a demon toy, like a cat girl or something.
I don't think many people would understand it. Though it would be cool to have a demon doll.
I guess you're right. They are for kids, after all. I looked at Damien as he became absorbed in the line of toys. I couldn't help but smile at how intrigued he was. It made me curious. Hey Damien, did you ever have toys as a kid? Damien looked at me in surprise before shaking his head with a slight grimace.
No, I didn't. Matthew made some for me sometimes, but they were always taken away.
I frowned. I was sorry for asking, but Damien shook his head again and smiled.
However, when we came to the human world, I actually got one. It was a stuffed kitten. I didn't do anything, but it was fluffy and cute.
Oh, he bought a stuffed kitten! This man is precious right here. This is a precious being right here. This is why I need to hug this precious being named Damien. Damien rubbed the back of his head in embarrassment.
Must be dumb, huh? A grown man with a cute toy like that?
No, it's not. It's adorable. No way. It's cute. Damien stared in shock at me, but I was being serious. It didn't matter that Damien was a man. Cute toys were cute for a reason, and it was okay to think so. If any guy bought toys, like stuffed toys to keep, and tells me about it, I will scream in joy because that is adorable and I love it. Okay, guys, I will not make fun of you for doing that. You keep being you. Buy all the cute stuffed toys you want. You too, Damien. I don't care. It's really adorable. Having cute toys is not a bad thing at all. That's what some toys are meant to be. Cute! It doesn't matter who has them or how old you are. Cute is cute. See? She took the words right out of my mouth there. It was just a fact to me. However, Damien couldn't help but chuckle softly before bringing one hand to my head and petting over my hair.
You are so adorable, you know that?
Shut up! I'm not adorable. I'm a potato. Huh? I blushed and looked down at the breakfast tray in front of us. I wasn't that cute. I felt myself rub the back of my neck in embarrassment. Everybody calls me adorable, and I'm sitting there like, no, I'm a potato. Shush. That made Damien laugh and kiss my cheek, forcing a gasp to come out of me. I looked at Damien as he smiled a playful grin at me.
It's true.
We both turned back to the TV and listened as James explained each toy in detail. I looked over to Damien to see him practically enthralled with the sight of his brother presenting his line. I gently nudged him, making him look back to me. Jeez, you're making me jealous. It's like James is enthralling you through the TV to buy his toys. I, of course, was joking. Damien was very happy for his brothers, especially James. With a raised eyebrow, Damien gently removed the tray from our laps, placing it on his nightstand before crawling over my body and making me lay back. I stared up at him in surprise as he gave me a seductive smirk. Oh shit. I didn't mean for you to come on me right now, though.
And what if I was enthralled by you?
I feel honored now. Butterflies, okay. I was speechless. Damien was full of surprises, even as a human. He didn't have the ability to read my mind, but he knew exactly what to say to make me squirm. How is he this good? He was human now! Damien chuckled before leaning down and kissing me. Despite him not being demon anymore, his kisses were always so magical. They each took my breath away each time his lips touched mine. I loved them. I wrapped my arms around him and deepened the kiss between us, forgetting about what was going on with the toy line. All I could think about was Damien's kiss. It was sweet and passionate, eager to make my body quiver underneath the one kissing me. However, the sound of our stomachs rumbled in sync forced us to break away from the kiss and look down at our touching bellies. Oh my, that ruined the moment. Thank you, stomach, for being hungry.
Maybe we should eat a bit before we continue this, huh?
Okay. Good idea. As much as I wanted to keep making out with Damien, I knew my stomach would keep interrupting, and so would his unless we ate. We ate the delicious breakfast Damien made while watching the rest of the news. It was a nice segment, and Matthew even appeared to help during James's presentation. Yay, Matthew! Cinnamon bun! Soon we were flipping channels and watching random shows. The day passed by lazily. We barely left the bedroom because we didn't want to do anything. It was rather relaxing, surprisingly. I knew we had to work on the wedding, arranging it eventually. Oh my god, read that wrong, I'm sorry. I knew we had to work on the wedding arrangements eventually, but today was not the day for that. We needed a day to ourselves, to remind each other that we were going to be together for a long time. It wasn't long before we found ourselves cuddling into each other's arms, taking a mid-afternoon nap. It was a sweet and peaceful drowsiness that lured both of us to close our eyes together. The darkness of my mind invited me to stay a while, and I gladly accepted its invitation. It felt nice, and I was enjoying the rest it gave my body. However, I soon saw that I was not alone in the dark. Oh, Damien. Damien slowly appeared before me and took my hand, kissing it gently. I felt myself shudder, but it wasn't his nude form or his kiss that surprised me. It was his eyes. My mind recognized those eyes, shivers shooting up my body from the sight, instead of the loving and soft blue and purple eyes his eyes usually were. They were deep gold, like when he was still an incubus. They bore into my soul as Damien continued to keep his lips on my hand. Damien? As Damien smirked against my skin, my body began to feel hot, making me curl into my body. I tried to pull my hand away from him, but he held it firmly, keeping his lips against my skin over my knuckles. No. I recognized the feeling. He was enthralling me. Why was he doing this in my dream? Why was this happening? We continued to float in the darkness, his enthrallment invading my body as he held my hand to him. Still, I had to make him let go. I had to. Stop! I was finally able to pull my hand away, and I held it close to my chest. Damien stared in shock before something dark covered my eyes.
Look out!
Huh? From out of nowhere, Diana's voice rang through the air, followed by the sounds of an intense battle. I looked around the darkness, unsure of what was going on, but something did not feel right. Is that the sound of fighting? Whoa. As I stood, lost in the dark, I felt a heavy weight upon my back, forcing me down. It was as if a large boulder was pressing down on me, wanting to crush me beneath its weight. I fought against it, gritting my teeth as I struggled. A large grunt echoed over me, forcing me to look up and see Diana pushing at the boulder to get it off of me. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Why would Diana ever help me? Why would you think about Diana helping you? She just saved you from a boulder. You should be thinking, why is there a boulder on top of me? Quickly, we both forced it off of my body, and I soon found myself looking into the great hall of the Incubi's old castle in the Abyssal Plains. The interior was as regal as I remembered, but behind me was a broken-down entrance where I assumed the boulder had originated from. However, Diana and I were not alone.
Is she all right?
Ah, that asshole was there.
I wouldn't worry about her, you mistake.
Oh, shut the fuck up. I stared as the Demon Lord and Damien stood squared off with... Wow. I stared as the Demon Lord and Damien stood squared off with each other. In the Demon Lord's hand was a large chain covered with dried blood, and my stomach churned at the sight.
She will never leave this world alive as long as I live.
Oh my god. I looked at Damien, then back at the Demon Lord. What was going on? Why was Diana here? Why was I here? Ooh. As the Demon Lord whipped his chain at Damien, Diana shot out a blast of purple energy, forcing it to reach it away. Damien stepped in front of me, and Damien, glaring hard at the Demon Lord, and prepared another spell in their hands. Did I read that right? Diana stepped in front of me and Damien, glaring hard at the Demon Lord, and preparing another spell in their hands. Sorry, I thought I didn't read that right, so I read it again.
Go with her. I'll deal with this once and for all.
If I'm going to fall here, all of you will fall with me!
The Demon Lord, with a crazed grin, pointed his hands toward the ceiling and let out an angry howl, causing tremors and quakes to run through the room. Diana shot her hand upward and formed a purple barrier around our bodies, but she winced with each stone that fell and slammed into the barrier.
I can't hold it!
This castle will be your grave!
I hope you heard that. My instinct was to reach out and hold on to Damien, but before I could move, he grabbed my face and kissed me roughly. I stared at him, wondering what he was doing, but I kissed him back and dug my fingers into his shoulders. Was this dream going to end with us dying? As Damien pulled away, I saw tears begin to form in his eyes. Oh my god. I stared as he gently pulled away from me and ran outside of Diana's barrier at the Demon Lord, picking up a fallen sword from the ground. No! Damien, get back here! You are not dying in my dream! With a courageous shout, Damien slashed at the Demon Lord, forcing him to quickly jump backwards towards the throne. Get back here, Damien!
Keep her safe.
No! You get back here! I don't want you dying in my dream, you precious being!
What? Are you insane? You're powerless against him!
Listen to Diana! Get back here!
You're faster than me as a demon. I won't be able to get out of here fast enough for us both to survive.
Oh my god! No! Damien? I wasn't sure what was happening, but I didn't like what I was seeing. Why was Damien telling Diana to keep me safe? I watched as Damien looked at Diana with an affirmative glare and nod. Before I could question it, Diana ducked down and threw me over her shoulder. How she managed to be strong enough to perform such a feat was beyond me, but I was too thrown off to care.
You will not be forgotten.
No!
Just go.
I reached out to Damien, losing track of what was happening as Diana began to run away from him and the Demon Lord faster than a speeding car. Damien? Damien!
I love you.
No, this is breaking me. No. I watched the tears run down Damien's cheeks as he reached back for me, but he remained where he stood. As Diana ran with me over her shoulder, the ceiling began to crumble within the hall, stone and glass falling all around the Demon Lord and Damien. The world around me began to glow into slow motion as I kept reaching out to Damien, struggling in Diana's arms as she ran. Why was this happening? I could only watch as the demon lord approached Damien and quickly wrapped the chain around his neck, pulling him into the air and hanging him with it like an executioner's noose. Okay. Damien tried to place his feet on the demon lord while his fingers clawed at the chains, trying to find some purchase. Whoa. As he managed to get his feet around the demon lord's neck, a large avalanche of stone and glass fell over their bodies, hiding them from sight. I couldn't be sure, but it looked as if they had been crushed. No! Damien! Wow, how convenient. No! The world around me broke apart as I began to scream in agony at what I was forced to witness. It couldn't have been real. I didn't want it to be real. I let the darkness of my dreams envelop me as I mentally repeated over and over that this was not real. Once again, I was floating in darkness, curled into myself in overwhelming sadness. Why was this happening? Why was I being forced to see this nightmare? Why was I being forced to see nightmare after nightmare? I dug my nails into my arms, wanting to wake up already. Please let me wake up. Please. As I felt my body begin to fall, I let go of my arms and tried to reach for something to stop my rapid descent. Ah! Faster and faster, I felt my body tumble and fall through the dark into an unknown oblivion. I tried to grasp at anything to catch me, to stop me. I eventually woke up, holding on to Damien as I refocused my vision. I was back in my room. I had landed and awoken before I felt the impact, or perhaps the impact woke me up. My grip on his shirt woke Damien from his sleep, gasping and looking to me.
What happened? What's wrong?
Damien! I instinctively wrapped my arms around him, needing to feel him physically. It wasn't enough to see or hear him, but the feeling of his body being in my arms reassured my mind that he was okay and that he was here with me, alive. Damien looked at me and wrapped his arms around me, letting out a small sigh and nuzzling me softly.
Another nightmare?
I could only nod against his shoulder. I was quivering in his arms, but I was thankful that everything was okay. My dream was just that, a dream. I sighed and kissed his cheek softly, silently apologizing. Damien held me close for such a long time, understanding my need to simply feel him. He didn't pull away, nor did he speak. He simply held me and gently nuzzled me to him to help me fully come down from my fear. I felt his hand gently pet my hair, aiding my shift from sadness to a relaxing calm. Everything was fine. Everything was okay. I'm sorry. I don't know why I keep getting nightmares.
You can't control your dreams.
Oh yeah, you did that the first time when we met. Yeah. My memories flashed back to the first time he said that to me. It was the day right after we met. He had saved me from my nightmare of Malix. I let a smile across my cheeks as I looked up at Damien. Heh, you told me that when we first met. Damien gently pulled away and smiled at me, kissing my cheek.
I did, didn't I? You remember that?
I nodded. I never wanted to forget how we had met. He and his brothers came to the human world and arrived at my house, where I got to be with them and learn about them. At the same time, I was able to become close to Damien and fall in love with him. Yet there were some bumps along the way, but we were able to get through them. And we even were able to give Damien something he desperately wanted, to be human. Damien gently caressed my cheek, inviting me to nuzzle into his palm, and he smiled down at me as he laid his forehead against mine.
No matter what comes our way, I promise to protect you and love you for the rest of my life.
Aww. Precious being so adorable. You'll never leave me? Damien shook his head and I believed him. His simple smile was enough for me to understand that he was telling the absolute truth. He wouldn't leave me and I would never leave him. I nuzzled my nose to his, looking up into his beautiful eyes. Those beautiful, colorful eyes. You don't regret not being a demon anymore? He shook his head again. I knew he was beyond happy to be human, but the nightmares made me worry over and over without relenting. I knew was worrying over nothing. Okay, but more than anything, I wanted Damien to be happy. I couldn't help but worry. I slowly tilted my head up and captured his lips with mine, kissing him ever so softly. He returned my kiss, his arms tightening around my body. My worries slowly began to melt and drift away as he held me. I could feel my body slowly draw closer to Damien's, craving more of his touch. My fingers gently traveled up his shoulders and ran through his hair, brushing through the strands lovingly. He shivered at my touch, making me tremble in response. This time, I had just woken up from a nightmare. Was it right to really feel like this right now? My mind questioned my body's intentions, and my body ignored every logical reason my mind had to put a stop to this situation. All right then. I had to listen to one or the other. Ooh. Well, we're about to come to a sex scene, so I ain't skipping that. So if you feel uncomfortable with sex scenes, feel free to skip this. So we're gonna listen to our body. Something in my body was calling for Damien. I didn't care about what I had just witnessed. I was attracted to him and needed more of him. Ooh. It was crazy, but I didn't care. I was in love and also deep in lust. Ooh. I slowly dragged my hands down and began to undo his shirt, needing to feel his bare chest with my fingers. In response, Damien dipped his hands under my shirt and up my back, and I shivered in delight as they reached to my spine. I couldn't help but moan against his lips at his touch, loving how his fingers teasingly and lovingly ran down my back. As his chest was bare to me, I ran my fingertips over his toned skin as I arched my back towards him. Ooh, it's getting more descriptive than the last time. Damien smirked slightly against my lips as he reached farther under my shirt, discovering that I wasn't wearing a bra and feeling my bare skin where the clasp would be. I opened my eyes, watching him stare down at me with a loving yet lust-filled gaze. Just his stare made me feel weak in his arms and made me moan once again against his lips and swoon into his arms. Damien moved his hands away so that he could fully remove his shirt from his body before helping me out of mine. Pulling away from the kiss to do so, I whimpered at the loss, but I knew it had to be done. As Damien gathered me back into his arms, I wrapped my arms around his neck, needing to be close to him. He became much more daring whenever we were about to make love. It was almost like a complete character change whenever passion took over. He knew what he was doing, and he knew exactly where to hold me to make me melt against him. Damien slowly ran his hands down my back and slipped them under the hem of my pants and panties. Ooh, gripping to my bare rear and massaging each cheek oh so lovingly. Holy, that's a weak point for me. Okay, stop it. I pulled away from the kiss and moaned out into the air between us, gripping his shoulder at the feeling. I'm trying to do the most sexiest voice ever for these scenes, so sorry if I keep breaking or whatever. My voice keeps cracking or whatever. Back into sexy mode. Okay. It wasn't helping that the heat and need in my core were flaring to have him take me as he groped my ass and made my nerves jump and shake in desire. Oh boy! I looked at Damien with half-lidded eyes, feeling my desire increase with each press of his fingers and palms. He had a small smirk on his lips, and I licked my own at the sight. Damien gently leaned in and nipped at my mouth, biting my lower lip and sending pleasurable waves down my body and into my already tightening core. As he released it, he leaned his forehead against mine, staring deep into my eyes.
Are you sure you want to do this? I don't think I'll be able to stop myself if we continue.
Shut up, Damien, and kiss me. Shut up and kiss me, you precious being. I didn't want to hear it. I grabbed his head and pulled him back into a passionate kiss, needing to stop him from suggesting that we stop. There we go, girl. I didn't want to stop. I wanted him. Damien took the hint and kissed me back just as deeply. He took his fingers into my skin, making me arch my back further and grind against him in need. I was drowning in desire and I needed him immediately. Not fast enough, he had removed the remainder of our clothes from our bodies, and we were making sweet and passionate love, our breaths and moans echoing through the room shamelessly and relentlessly. Oh, jeez. I wonder how many times we've done this over the past couple of years. Ha! Each word we let out became a declaration of love, of pleasure, of eternal bliss between us as we rocked onto the mattress passionately. My fingers danced and dragged themselves along his skin, leaving lovely red marks in their wake. We didn't need demon enthrallment to feel immense pleasure between us. We made each other feel perfect as humans, and that was all that mattered when we held each other. Soon, our moans became harder and louder, driving alongside our pleasure and ecstasy. My fingernails began to dig into his skin and onto the bed sheets as I began to apex and rush over my highest point. As I finally passed through the peak of my pleasure, so did he, and we were both blissful and warm. We slowly melted into the afterglow of our sex and cuddled with each other, not wanting to lose the warmth between our bodies. Our sex was part of how we expressed our love to each other, and we didn't want to lose any bit of it. Damien cradled me in his arms and kissed my forehead before kissing me on the lips gently.
I am yours. Forever.
Oh, and I am yours. It wasn't long before I closed my eyes and fell into sleep again. This time, I was able to float in a blissful darkness, uninterrupted. Soon, days went by, passing forward in almost hyperdrive until a couple of days before the wedding. Damien and I worked hard after our rest day to make everything perfect, and we were positive that nothing could go wrong. What could possibly go wrong? The boys picked him up, leaving him alone to get into my wedding dress and wait for my limo to drive me to the wedding hall. I was nervous that I needed to prep everything on my own without the interruption. Excuse me. I got into my dress, finished getting ready, and I wound up staring at myself in the mirror in awe. I was in my dream wedding gown, looking as I had always imagined I'd look like getting married. I'm wondering if I should stop here or keep going. You know what? I think this is a good stopping point, because then I probably keep going, and then soon is going to be a twist of events, and I don't want to stop at a cliffhanger for you guys. So I'm going to just end it here, and then we'll continue in the next episode, the next video. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of my videos, then click subscribe. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!